No way. That's great.
We landed on the moon!
Alright,
4?
Alright, ready?
It's a 4.
Alright.
You don't have to count down.
Alright, we're live in 3, 2, 1, go.
You gotta take TV production. You're not supposed to say the 2 or the 1. They taught us that in middle school.
Didn't you
just-
learn that in
go-
Monsters Inc. when he says, "All right, everybody, we're ready on the floor," and he does all the.
Supposed to do 5, 4. Because the camera picks it up.
Okay.
That's alright. You gotta take TV production next year.
I think
No,
I
he's taking 3D art.
think I put that as number 2.
Whatever. Alright.
I love y'all. I'll see you later. Have fun.
Alright, welcome to episode 4. We're just blazing through these at this rate, aren't we?
I'm exhausted.
You're exhausted. Well, it's Friday night, we're gonna try to.
It was my morning to sleep in, and your son, you had me up at 5 because your gym alarm went off, and then your loud ass car cranked, and our almost 5-year-old heard it and said, "I saw Daddy drive down the street." So then he came and got me bed, and we had to watch Pirates at 5:45 this morning.
Pirates of the Caribbean's a good way to start the day.
He was so concerned about the mermaid.
He was scared last night.
I was
He
asleep.
made me fast forward
I fell
through.
asleep.
Yeah, he made me fast forward. We were watching. He had our 4-year-olds watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and he wanted to watch.
Mermaids.
Somehow you started talking about mermaids, and I was like, "It's not the mermaids he's thinking of."
Because he's used to Little Mermaid.
Yeah. So like when they're jumping and like
And they're
pulling him
eating.
off the boat, he had the blanket up, and he was like, "Can you skip this part?"
I was
So I had
asleep.
to like jump ahead,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Yeah, they're not really like." I was like, "They're not really.
They're
like,
not Ariel."
They're not nice mermaids. There's no singing. Well, they do sing, but then they start eating.
Then they
them.
murder you.
Yeah. So I don't know, but he
So
seems
yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty tired tonight.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's all right. We
And I
got
did 4 miles today.
tomorrow's Saturday. We're gonna sleep in till 7:30 probably. you
Well,
know.
I have an 8:15 doctor's appointment.
Okay, well, I'm going to sleep until 7:30. All right, so we got 2 new beers. This one is Wicked Weed Brewing,
I don't know how to say
Perny.
Yeah, whatever.
It says, it's Pernicus IPA, but it's Perny for short.
That was the least amount of alcohol content I could find when choosing the beer.
So we'll see.
It's sort of clear.
I don't know. Yeah, this may not be bad.
By the way,
I seem to like the ones that aren't cloudy.
not demoting what was it? It was the Voodoo Ranger I
Yeah.
drank last week. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the beer because the beer was excellent, but I have a very sensitive stomach to certain beers, and I was sick.
Gotcha.
Later that
It
night,
got you.
It got me, and later the next day I was even sick. I have a problem with rice, it seems like these days. So I haven't been 40-year-old. I'm drinking gummies, fruit punch.
I don't know if that's a beer, but
The guy at the checkout was like, is this an energy drink? And I said, no, you have to be 21 for this. And it's 9.5.
that says it's an IPA, a hazy double IPA. This one says double IPA, didn't it? Or was that one of the other ones we got?
This one says double. It's
Yeah, I
double.
saw one. I was like, what is a double? Does that?
So I'm concerned because a lot of people think fruit punch means you had to put mango and banana in it, and both of those will make me vomit. So this ought to be fun. Cody said it'd be great if I vomited on camera.
Yeah, I'm all for it. We'll
Do
go
you remember that
viral
time I
and-
accidentally drank someone's banana beer?
I do. So that looks good. The color of it's good. I just don't like. I mean, this one's a little cloudy, so I don't know. We'll
All
see.
right. Cheers to a
You
new
good?
beer.
All right,
That
let's
is
see.
cloudy.
That's not bad. I mean, it's definitely got that IPA taste, but it's not whatever the ones we were drinking in the first couple episodes were super strong. How's that one?
Your dad's texting me. Sorry.
Okay.
It's not something I want to drink.
It's very sweet.
Yeah. So here's my whole thing. Beer is supposed to be beer. Blue Moon, when you guys put orange peels in it, No.
If you gotta put fruit in
If
it,
you
I don't
put
know if
fruit
it's
in
beer.
it's not a beer any longer. I don't put limes in my Coronas or any of my Mexican beers, to be clear. And I don't drink Blue Moon because I don't put fruit in my beer. If I'm gonna put fruit in my beer, I'm gonna drink a sangria, margarita, daiquiri, Bloody Mary.
Well, that's not beer, but yeah.
So there you go. That's why it's not a beer, because you don't put fruit in beer.
Have you ever had a Bloody Mary? Have we talked about this?
I've had one once, but I don't remember it, and I don't really like tomatoes. But
I've never tried
it.
one.
I think I had it once after a really bad night of drinking. Someone made one for me, and I drank it. It's pretty good.
We should try one. I've never had one. Everyone always raves about it.
Bloody Marys on the next episode.
I feel like that's a morning drink though. People, you don't typically drink a Bloody
So-
Mary at night, but
So when Topgolf first opened, they had a Bloody Mary bar where you could put anything
People put, like,
in
bacon and stuff in 'em.
bacon, cheese sticks, chicken wings. You put
chicken. You got it?
nope.
No, didn't like that one.
Sorry, gummies. Sorry, sweet water.
Didn't make the cut.
I'm sorry.
This one's not
Normally
bad.
I
I
can
can
drink,
drink
I
this
could
one.
drink through a beer. Can I taste it? I
Yeah.
didn't taste it. Normally
It's
I
got
can
that. It's
drink
got
through a
that
bad beer.
that IPA taste, but it's not like overpowering. You gonna be okay? I'm all for you throwing up. We'll get it on TikTok and maybe.
I think there is banana in it. I think there's banana in it.
Is there? Well, why don't you drink something else then?
Yeah, that one's not bad.
That's not bad.
I don't. There's a hint of banana or mango in that. I don't like it.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that's mine. So, like, you chose this one. So, here, push that. Here's a Miller Lite. You drink that
Just
one.
to be clear, our child chose our beers first.
Good parenting. That wasn't my idea.
It wasn't mine. He decided on his own.
Well, we bought several different ones just to try, and we're like, which ones do we try? I mean, because we don't know the difference between IPAs or whatever. Why are they? What does IPA even mean? Why do they all have? They're all IPAs. What does that mean?
I don't know.
We should Google.
I have a friend, so let me reach out to her when we're done with these. She can tell me because they own one of the brewing companies here in town.
We should do a podcast from there.
We can?
We'll act famous. Like, this is a big deal. We're going on location.
I can ask her.
It stands for India Pale Ale.
So is it from India? Do I sound stupid?
No,
right
I
now?
think that these are all made in America. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why they call it that, but
I'll just stick to my Miller Lite and vodka. Thank you.
all right. Well, there's that. All right, you ready to do the question?
Did you finally come up with it?
I did. I thought about it.
What is it?
You ready? All right.
Do I believe in dinosaurs?
No.
Oh.
But you do believe in dinosaurs, right? Okay. So, time travel exists. Okay.
Oh, did you see that stupid thing in Dublin?
No.
Oh,
The portal thing?
the portal.
Yeah, that's just a camera. It's not a portal.
It's exact. Okay.
But all right, so in this scenario, time travel exists. All right, you are 23 years old. Okay, you can go forward or backwards, but once you're there, you have to stay. What year do you go to? Do you go forward? Or do you go back?
I go forward.
You go forward.
I wouldn't go backwards.
No?
Oh, I had a shitty high school and middle school.
Well, I mean, you
years.
can go back to like, any
But I
time.
mean, I met you.
You
when
go
I
back
was-
to like Rome or.
I met you when I was. So not
Yeah.
just our lifetime.
Well, no, it's time travel. So, I mean, you want to go back to the dinosaur times and fight some dinosaurs, knock yourself out.
Can I ride one?
You can try. I
To
don't.
be honest, of all the things that I know about history, my mother-in-law would know this best about me. I would go back and be a hippie. I would just go back. I would live
Like 60s?
I would go live in San Francisco. I would attend Berkeley. I would be like
It's a cool time.
I would, yeah. I mean, that's me. I don't think if I went back any further, maybe I would be like Athena. I'd be like a Greek goddess.
Well, that's like mythical stuff,
But so it's either a hippie or Athena.
I don't. Athena's not real. But
Athena is real.
okay, is it?
Yes.
That's like
Do you not know about Greek?
That's mythology. It's not real. Like Zeus is not like a person. Like he wasn't hanging out.
There were Greek gods and goddesses, and Athena was a goddess.
Okay, but it's not an actual like
Achilles.
time. Well, that wasn't a Greek god. That was just a warrior.
Right, but like they all like, coexist together.
No.
No?
No, not
I
that.
don't
No.
know. But
That's
I would. Okay, so fine. I would go back and be like the prince. Oh, here you go. I would go back and be the princess that Brad Pitt wants to bang in Troy. I would go back that far.
Well, I don't. I
As
mean,
long as Brad Pitt's there to do it.
it's not Brad Pitt. It's definitely a guy with a bunch of scars that doesn't have lost your dinosaur.
With wooden teeth.
Yeah, a guy, his terrible breath. Like you would be appalled by this guy. I don't think the actual Achilles looked like Brad Pitt, but you got to think about. You go back that far, they don't have air conditioning. They don't have plumbing. And you got to stay there. So that's the whole point.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a hippie.
Okay, so that's not that far. That's
I don't-
not like unreasonable.
I mean,
like,
I would take
they
outdoor.
have cars.
I
and
would
stuff.
take outdoor showers. I would, probably not wash my hair.
Okay. So I was on.
Stop shaving.
I was on the fence about this. Okay. Because I was like, I would really like to go forward and see what happens, but then I thought, like, so what if you say, all right, put me 200 years in the future, and you pop into like a nuclear apocalypse where like everyone's dead, and you're just like, oh no.
Oh shit.
This is a terrible decision. Ron Burgundy, I immediately regret this decision, and you can't go back because there's no way to jump back. So I struggled with that, but I'm thinking going back because I retain all the knowledge I have now. I would go back and make a lot of money, investing in everything, basically.
You would buy Bitcoin.
Well, I'm not even going. Well, I mean that's not a bad deal. You could just go back to like what was it, like 2009, and just buy Bitcoin and be that. That's not a bad idea either. You go back.
2009's a good year. We weren't married yet. We had no kids.
And that's like when we were like that age too. So you jump back.
We also didn't have any money.
Yeah. Well, but we would have found a way to get that money if I was like, trust me on this. There's this magic internet money. We're gonna be billionaires, and you would have been like, well, we're gonna go to the grocery store. But I think if I could go back to, I would like to go back to the 50s.
We ate a lot of frozen Tostinos. I don't know if you can get cheaper than that.
No, but my time, I think the 50s is. I'm on the fence about it because I feel like there's a lack of air conditioning, so I wouldn't be in Florida in the 50s. But
so that kind of goes to my favorite movie, and you know what my favorite movie is right now, right?
Dirty Dancing.
Well, that one, but it doesn't have anything to do with like aging over years. Age of Adeline.
Right, because so in that movie where she doesn't age,
Movie.
she brings up. Like, she's buying stocks at one point.
She buys stocks. She goes to her guy and she buys stocks, and he's like, I don't even know. He
didn't know how to pronounce it.
He didn't know how to pronounce it. And she said, oh, it's Greek. It's pronounced Xerox.
Yeah.
And she puts all of her money in that. And he's like, I feel like this is going to be a really long time investment. You're not going to see a return on it. And she said, I have time because she doesn't age.
Right.
So, like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not as good of a time, but like, would you want to go to like the 80s and buy like IBM, Apple, stuff like that?
No,
but then you have to live in the 80s. I mean, personally, like the 80s, I mean, we were born in the 80s, but that's not like, I wouldn't want to be 25 in like 83 or anything. That just doesn't, that's not an iconic time.
I want to be 20 or 21 attending Woodstock.
Yeah,
and
that's
being
what I'm saying.
barefoot with no bra.
Maybe cow. I mean, I kind of thought about this too. I thought I was like being like a cowboy, but then I felt like I'd get shot in a bar like 15 minutes into it, like you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe not.
No, you wouldn't, because you don't really run your mouth.
Well, this is something we talked about this, and this is off topic from the question. But remember, we talked about like this.
I thought it was supposed to be a short one.
Well,
Now we're off topic.
it is, but that's fine. So a few weeks ago, we were talking about just the history of like mankind and just men in general. Because, you know, I was kind of complaining about my office job. And the whole thing is that I said, I don't feel like men are meant to just sit, you know, like from the dawn of time, they've been hunters, fighters, you know, warriors. I mean, even going back to like, 1800s, you know, cowboys, and then Civil War, but things were getting a bit more, it wasn't as wild, but up until like early 1800s and, you know, stuff. I mean, the Wild West was crazy. I mean, like in the Revolutionary War, like you had to hunt for food, you had to fight for your survival, like, and it feels like now there's not a lot of ways for men to get out aggression. I mean, you can obviously join the army, but just in day-to-day life, like we've got, you know, thousands of years of this like bred into our DNA to fight and kill and shoot and hunt and all this stuff. I mean, obviously you can go hunting, but you know, at the end of
a little different.
At the end of the day, I don't think people, men especially, but you're not meant to sit in an office all day long.
So, and I think that's also part of something for me. So this may be a topic we need to discuss on another episode, but the women back then, even if they were back in like cavemen, like they didn't leave their babies. Their babies were strapped to them. So if they went
separation
they went foraging, their babies were with them because the men were out hunting. So there was no one to stay with the baby. You had to take the baby with you. Your baby was connected to you.
Yeah.
From the time they were born, they were put on you and you were one.
Well,
and now these days, and there's a meme video that goes around that says, imagine telling an orangutan or an ape that you can't hold your baby and sleep with your baby. But that's how they coexist. That's how they live once they're born. And we're told you can't co-sleep. It's unhealthy. You can't hold them while they're sleeping and cuddle them because it's a bad habit. But that's what all other species do with their babies.
It's built into you.
But that's what we used to do.
Yeah. And for thousands of years.
And now we're ripping the babies away from us and going right back to work. I have a huge problem with this, but I've learned how to cope with it. But, you know, I have days where I text you and I'm like, I feel like I'm missing something. Something's missing from me.
Yeah.
And it's because I don't have either of my kids and I don't know what they're doing at any given time. Now it's a little easier because one's on spring, he's already on summer break, so I can text my mother-in-law and be like, hey, what's he doing? And know and be in the know, and she keeps me very updated. But my oldest is still in school, and their school is like a prison. There's absolutely no cell phone reception. So I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Well, what's going on? But he's on their Wi-Fi, so every once in a while he'll text me back. And they're out of school in a week, so I love the summers. But so like where you feel like you're supposed to be hunting, you're supposed to be out doing something, I feel like I'm supposed to be with my kids and I'm separated from them because I'm at a job now. I'm at a much better job.
Well, let me just say this: the state we're in right now is unnatural.
Yeah,
it's unnatural from again, dawn of time. The women cared for the children, you know, gathered or whatever, and then the men were out hunting and then possibly fighting rival tribes. I mean, even go Roman times, you know, like there was always soldiers, and the women cared for the children and stuff. But like now, everyone just works. So like you're not around your kids as much because you're at work, and that's just part of how we live now.
Everything that was bred into us isn't a thing anymore.
But even back to like the boomer generation, like the 80s and stuff, though, like women didn't work as much. It's that's when it kind of started because both of our moms worked, but like
They went to
like,
work once we were a
like
certain age.
50s,
Yeah.
60s. Most women didn't work. That started like 60s and 70s and stuff, and then it just. I mean, you're getting political at this point, but with all the inflation, it's just kind of spiraled out of control to the point where both parents have to work. Like people, like we were talking about our son, like the younger generation. I don't know how they're going to buy a house. I have no idea. I mean, I guess they're going to inherit a house from us, and that's what a lot of people have said
You're
about
welcome.
about like that's how they say like the millennials are going to survive and finally get a house. I mean, obviously we're older millennials, but the people like a lot of the younger millennials, they're basically going to have to wait until their boomer parents die and leave them their house. That's that they paid $56,000 for in '82. And it's paid off.
How old were we when we bought our first house? 20.
Yeah.
You were 20, I was 21.
But that was all that predatory lending and a ridiculous interest rate. All right.
Yeah, we're
Well,
getting way
let's-
off subject. We got a whole.
Yeah, we're diving into like crazy stuff here. So I want to get into this. We talked about it briefly on the first episode, but I figured we'd do a little bit more of a deep dive here.
I'm not prepared for this, so
I know.
do not judge me.
I have not lectured you on this as much as aliens, but we are going to dive into, drum roll please. So, moon landing.
Yeah, I need a beer.
You're holding a beer. Was the moon landing fake? Yes or no? What are your thoughts before we talk about this? You don't have to just give me yes or no. Did we go in 1969?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, the biggest thing that I have for this is the Soviets were so far ahead of us in this. And I know you don't know a lot of this, but the Soviets had like the first...
I know this part.
They had like the first...
Rocket?
I think it was the first rocket to leave lower Earth orbit. They had the first animal in space, the first man in space, the first woman in space, the first spacewalk. They had all this stuff, and then all of a sudden we're like, we're on the moon. See ya. So it seems like we kind of said, we're not going to catch them. Let's just film this thing and be done with it. But what I don't understand is this. I don't understand why Russia stopped trying. Russia was like ahead of us the whole way and then just stopped. Why didn't they go to the moon? We went in 1969. Nobody else has put a person on the moon. Like we talked about, like China sending a probe and all that. Like, cool, that's 60 years later. Good job. Why were we able to put multiple people on the moon over the years, but nobody else had? And they were ahead of us. So they just were like, oh, they got there first. All right. It's like you're running a marathon and you're on lap or mile 23 and somebody else finishes and you just go, all right, never mind. I'm going to head on. Can I just go under this rope and I'll just go, I'm going to walk back to the car. Like, why wouldn't you keep going?
So, what about all of the astronauts that tried going to the moon before that died? There was
like some test crashes early on for America, like
so
that stuff.
Did we just kill people to kill them, and then we're like, hey, we're in Arizona,
but it may have been
flag.
It may have been before they realized this isn't possible. Let's just stage it. This is too dangerous.
So
because there were guys that died in like when they were doing rocket tests and different like high speed stuff that some rockets blew up, different things early on.
So I would be careful what I say because of my conspiracy in my head of things. I mean, yes, I believe it happened, but I can also see where it didn't.
And that's where I'm at. I don't know either way. Because I've read stuff where I'm like, I don't know. And then I've read stuff.
Here's my take on it. If you can prove to me the dinosaurs aren't real, and you can prove to me the moon landing wasn't real, then great. I'll believe it. But until you can prove one or the other,
And see
I'm
that,
going to believe what I want to believe.
and that's the thing that like flat earthers, which is a whole nother episode, and then I don't want to get into that. We're gonna go off topic, but flat earthers. Then other people say, "Well, prove it." And it's like, "Well, there's a picture." And they're like, "Well, that doesn't prove anything." It's like, okay, do you want us to take you to the moon? Like,
There are literally astronauts orbiting the Earth right now.
Well,
they can
that's-
take a picture and send it to you and show the Earth is round like a fucking bouncy ball. Like
that's
round.
another episode. We will do a flat Earth episode because that's a whole other box of worms. Those people
You're going
are.
to do it by yourself because if I do
I'm
it,
in.
I feel like we're going to lose followers because no one's going to like me.
Well, we only have like 7 followers, so it's fine. But
Half of them probably don't like me anyways.
I was gonna say, people are gonna be like, "What? Flat Earth? What's that?"
Sorry.
Trying to make this bullet pointed here. All right. So these are some things that, like, it's a list I found, and these all stuff that I've seen over the years, but different things. So there is a rock that's in one of the pictures, and it has a C on it, and a lot of people say it was a studio prop. And then they didn't remove it, so you can
So
type
like
in.
there's a C on it and the studio probably like it was supposed to be on Sesame Street or something. Like
No,
letter C?
it was like they were setting out the
Dracula?
they were setting out the props to film it, and it just wasn't turned the right way or whatever. It's a picture. It's literally like a black marker C written on it.
Maybe
So-
the aliens were sending us a message.
Do you need to go and I'll just finish this up? You got stuff to do.
No, I'm the funny.
It's not funny. We're focused in here. This is serious stuff. Okay. All right. So.
I'll keep going. I'll keep just
So-
debugging your scenarios.
Well, and that's just one on the
That's
list.
what we're
That's
doing.
like literally first on the list. The other one is that people complain that like in all the pictures you can't see the stars.
well,
So everyone says if you're closer to the stars, you should be able to see it. So
good.
the stuff I've read says that it's because of light pollution. Okay.
Yes.
So that makes sense somewhat, but also it doesn't. So the sun is shining on the moon, and they say it's very bright there.
It
Okay?
is.
It's not the same thing as like the argument, like one of the things I read said, like, imagine you're in a football stadium and you look up. You typically can't see many stars, but you can. Like you can see stars.
can't. If
It's
you
it's
walk-
not as clear as being out in like
if
the
you
country.
walk out to our front yard right now, you cannot see stars because of light pollution in our area.
Okay. And that's coming from lights. And I guess what they're saying
The
is that
sun is a light.
the moon is that the sun is
And it
reflecting
reflects
off
off
of
of it.
and that's why you can't see it.
Okay.
I haven't been to the moon. I don't know that to be true.
I'm on board with that. I agree with that.
So that's another. It's like
I can get on that
it
one.
could debunk it. All right. So there's some. Are you just gonna drink that one? Yeah. Go down that IPA train. We'll see how that works out, like it did last week.
My stomach was really flat the next morning.
It's a good flush. All right.
Shit all
Different things like with this one is one that a lot of these I go back and forth on. When it landed, like the lunar module came down, there's a rocket that's thrusting, right?
It doesn't
Everything
really
on
dust.
it doesn't create dust. So the moon lander looks like it was lowered and just set. There's no blowout from all the rocket. And somebody said, well, they at some point it shuts off and just drops. And I'm like, that
But it
thing
would
looks
still-
like it was made out
still
of.
creative.
You would think it would have pushed some
I
stuff
mean,
out.
when you throw down a paver in the sand, it's gonna create a.
They say that it's a very fine dust because like when the astronauts fell down and stuff, it just stuck to them. It's
So
like
is
like
the
powder.
sand that your children dug a freaking hole and tunnel
Yeah.
in our front yard.
Sam, back on topic.
I'm just saying. I'm
Back on
debunking it because I know what we're doing. I know the materials.
And then a lot of the videos and stuff that they say, like it looks like they're either underwater or that they're on cables. Like there's one video you can find where the guy falls down and then he gets back up. It literally looks like people are pulling him up with cables. And the thing to debunk it, they said, well, it's because he's on wires and they're helping him back up. But there are
I've never seen that.
I'll show you, but there are some other videos where you can see a wire reflecting or something reflecting above the astronauts. So it's like, is it a cable, like a clear, some kind of line that they were using? There's a bunch of these. I mean, you can look on, dive down the rabbit hole on YouTube and start finding, evidence of, fake moon landing and stuff. The only other one that I saw that was kind of had me like, I don't know. There's a picture of them on the moon, and you can see all the rocks and everything very clear. And then in the background, there's like a specific line, and it's more blurry. And what the guy in the video was saying is, he said it looks like a backdrop. So, like, a lot of people said that they filmed the moon landing in like Arizona or Nevada out in the desert.
I saw a video the other day on Instagram and it said, "Here's your moon landing," and it shows
because it looks like that. Like if you put it in black and white, you're like,
the exact
looks like the moon,
mountain or whatever.
But you can see a clear line where it's like all of a sudden it's super crisp and then blurry, and the mountains are supposed to be like 20 miles away, and then there's another picture of them driving around and the mountains are the exact same size and they're supposed to be like way closer to them, but nothing changed. So it's like they just moved the lunar thing and then kept driving.
All right, so with like the JFK files, like after so many years they're supposed to be released. Are they not going to release any of the NASA?
No, there's
not
no
for
thing.
NASA. It's only on.
There's nothing classified about it. There's no NASA files. Like they're just like, no, that's it. You want to hear something interesting? Now this is some of the stuff that.
Wait, when does the files come out about JFK? Who actually killed him?
Another episode. It's buffering, but that keeps getting pushed back.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Because the person who probably killed him or who's involved in it are probably also alive.
It's not the person, it's the government agency that killed him. Because it would cripple the CIA. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to talk about it
okay.
in another episode.
Okay. I'm excited about that. Can we talk about that?
That's the granddaddy of all conspiracies right there.
I will talk about that conspiracy.
So that's another episode.
I'm sorry. I think about
derailing me multiple times. Now I'm thinking about JFK. I'm like, oh, you guys, I know what happened. All right.
I'm not your patsy.
I'm just a patsy. God, you got me thrown off now.
So here's my whole thing though about the moon. Like, how do they convince Neil Armstrong this happened? You have to sell it to the day you die. Like,
I mean, he's a paid employee.
I guess because he gets the famous thing, and then after that, he's just kind of.
Have you ever seen their?
He gets put on the Wheatie boxes.
Have you ever seen their faces in the interview after they get back? You ever watched that interview?
No.
It literally, the three guys.
They look unfazed.
Just went to the moon. This is like guys win the Super Bowl and they're like losing their minds. These guys just went to the moon. Nobody else has ever done it, and they're just like, yeah, it went good. We went out there, and there's some stars.
We gave it 100%.
They all look like they're just like nothing. They look like they're lying. I mean, there's no excitement. I mean, I know it's a different time, but you would think, it was great. I mean, just marveling. It was so amazing to see. Like, none of them are like that.
Okay.
They're all very just.
So, Cody, do you believe we went to the moon?
I'm not done. I got to show you a couple things, and then we're gonna get there. Okay. The other thing. This is the one other thing that I question, and I don't understand it. I want to know how they were able to make phone calls. I believe they talked to the president live from the moon.
Well, Apollo 13. called and talked.
Okay.
They had comms.
Yeah.
I mean, the Tom Hanks movie.
And I don't know. I don't know the technology behind phone systems in 1969, but it seems unlikely that they would have been able to talk to, I think it was it Nixon at that point?
Okay, well, here's my whole problem with some of this is how is their satellite talk from Florida? They're in Florida, Texas. Where's the comm centers? They take off in Florida, but the comms are in Texas, right? Houston. So explain to me how you can talk to someone from Houston to space, clear as day. At that time, we didn't have cell phones, right? But I'm driving back on a random road to go drop off my youngest in the morning, and all of a sudden my Amazon Music doesn't work because we can't find a freaking signal.
That's the
point. How is that how do we have these blink?
Sam, that was the point I was making. Okay.
Sorry.
That's where I was going with that. It doesn't make sense. Did they set up a massive satellite and beam it? How did you do that? Something else, and I told you this the other day when we were talking about it. Mm-hmm. They would not allow the media networks to have a live feed because NASA had a live feed from the cameras, which is another thing. How did they beam back video from the moon? Back then, things weren't digital. Okay, like when they made a
FaceTime between your mom, who is less than 5 miles away from us, and my youngest today was.
These are the things I don't get. So you were basically, how were they broadcasting that the phone call and the videos from the moon in 1969 live? How? I mean, when a TV studio did a broadcast, they had a giant satellite dish, and that was how they did it. So did they set up a giant satellite dish on the moon?
And had to then forecast it to our giant TV that had a huge back end like that. I mean, it was bigger than.
So here's what they said. They wouldn't give the news networks a live feed of it. They put it up on a projector or something, and all the cameras, what people saw around the country, were cameras pointed at that projector. So all the local news people, national news people, had a camera focused on that projector, and that's what they broadcast to their people. And like I've read some stuff that said, well, that was in case something happened or this or that, and I'm like, okay, I still don't understand how they did it. And again, I'm not in TV where I would know. You all right over there?
I don't. That beer will get me. I just tasted it.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a couple of videos to show you here, and then I'll let you go burp elsewhere. All right. So this one, and we'll put these in the thing. This
60 seconds. I saw this illumination that was moving with respect to the stars. We were smart enough to not say, Houston, there's a light out there that's following us. So technically, it becomes an unidentified flying object.
Solid podcast. We're doing so good. This is a bang-up episode between.
This is the one that's gonna get us the most views.
I don't think that's accurate, but I'm all for it. I'm having a good time. I like talking about alien. This is the only way I can get you to talk about alien and moon stuff. So I'm excited. But Buzz Aldrin said that we have a fridge right over there. You're allowed to get up. You're not chained in here. Okay, that's mine. I'm gonna drink that.
You're drinking that.
Buzz Aldrin said that they saw a light or alien craft or whatever it was, and that was talking about them leaving them, on the way to the moon. So, you can ask a question, yeah. Buzz Aldrin was with him, I guess. We can Google it. Oh. Now you've got me confused. You're throwing everything off. It's Neil Armstrong. God, you're the worst. I gotta get a new podcast person. Maybe one of our neighbors will do it with me. I don't know. Maybe your dad will come over. think Glenn would want to do a podcast about aliens and shit.
Yes. Put my dad on.
That'd be good. I get Glenn in here, he's gonna be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, watch this video, Glenn. Focus in.
Oh my god, could you guys imagine my dad?
He might buy into this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get him on here. My dad will just start talking politics. That won't work, but I get your dad on here. He may lock into some of this. Like, Cody, that's a good point.
My dad does like talking to you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, I got to show you this one. Stay on. This is supposed to be a short one. This is going to be a quick one, and
it's
you're derailing us. This is going to be an
Smart enough.
hour 50 here at this
Smart
point.
acting. I'm
right.
crying.
Focus up. Okay, let's lock in. Maybe we're gonna stop doing the beers for you, and I'll just
I didn't even
we'll get
drink
you a
that
water,
one.
and
I
I'll do
didn't
the beers. God, all right, Jesus. All right, listen to this one. This is so there is a radiation belt around Earth. All right, that was a big thing. Is how do we get past the radiation belt? It's called the Van Allen radiation belt.
So it makes us sick?
It's supposed to be something that we can't pass through, but they solved it in 1969. So watch this video.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is that like a belt like around Saturn? Like
No.
Yeah.
It's radiation. There's not an actual. It's not like rocks.
oh.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
So watch it. This is an astronaut on the International Space Station.
Beginning, I think, of human beings leaving low Earth orbit. I certainly plan on being around to see that.
Low Earth orbit is like where our satellites are. Okay? She's an astronaut on the space station saying she can't wait to see us leave there. We had to do that in 1969 to get to the moon. She's excited to see it. Well, sweetie, I got some black and white videos I can show you where we did it 60 years ago. It's very exciting. Everyone was thrilled. Okay? Like...
Okay.
Her hair's floating. She's in space saying, I can't wait to see it. We got color TVs and everything now. Come check them out. I don't know. All right, here's another one. You gotta watch this one.
Plan that NASA has is to build a rocket called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. So we have to design both the crew protection systems and our electronic systems to withstand this radiation.
We've already done that, guys. They're literally talking like, this has never happened before. We're super excited about it. We're going to go to the moon. Guys, it's been 60 years. So, like, the other thing, there's a video, and I tried to find it for this. There is a guy saying, we lost the technology. Because they're talking about, why haven't we been back to the moon? He goes, we lost it. It says NASA astronaut at the bottom of the screen. He says, we unfortunately have lost that technology. So we are not able to get there now. I'm like,
Did we lose it because we accelerated too fast, too far?
I don't know what that means. But
Like we weren't supposed to go.
they're just saying we lost it. We don't know how we did it before. They've lost the technology of, like, they don't know how we built the first rocket. Like,
Well,
that seems odd that you would not keep records of things like that. Also, the original video recordings from the moon, those have been lost also. Because Ron Howard was doing a documentary about the moon landing and space and stuff. He went to NASA and said, is there any way I could get the originals so I can get a real clear copy of it? You know, I don't want one that's dubbed and and it's been recaptured and all that. And they said we've lost those. They were damaged.
So,
So it's like,
so remember when
What?
I told you that if we actually talked about my conspiracy of things, it probably wouldn't end well?
I do.
This is like, you want me to talk about my conspiracies? I feel like y'all would blacklist me like crazy.
Is it about the moon landing?
It's about the moon landing. It's about 9/11. It's about Vietnam.
You're listing off different episodes, sweetie, that
Yeah,
are planned for
like-
the future.
But I feel like I can't talk about my conspiracies because I feel like people are like, she's fucking nuts.
That's
But
kind
I'm
of the
not-
point
I'm
of the
not-
podcast.
I'm
I
not
don't want to
really-
come off.
But I'm not really nuts. I just have my belief in what actually happened and took place.
Yeah.
And
So, did we go to the moon? No.
I
I
don't
don't know.
I don't think we did.
I
I
don't-
really do not think that we went to the moon. I don't think we actually have people in space. I think we have satellites up there because we can shoot them up there because there's no people on them. I also do not like the fact that we have used humans as ploys with those because we have lost a lot of astronauts in the making
I
of
would say a
doing
lot.
this.
Say a few, but
No, we have. We've lost a lot, and there. I remember there was some when I was a kid that were going up that their rocket or whatever exploded in space. I think that was like 10 or something. I can't remember, but like
I guess my ultimate thing is I think what happened is they got to a point and they realized, shit, this isn't possible. And they said, what do we do? And the theory is that Stanley Kubrick filmed it. He's the one that did 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I watched that for the first time like 6 months ago. And it's baffling that they were able to do that before Star Wars or it looks like a space movie. Like, I mean, to today's standards.
they
like,
had all the space things ready to go because Star Wars is already.
and that's one of the conspiracy theories I read was that the government bankrolled that movie as a test shoot for him to let him try
So-
it out, and then he had it and was able to roll out.
So have you
that.
seen the news? It's I think it's a news article or it's like a news like TV show or whatever. They're talking about how the government runs Hollywood to put these things out there. So like the zombie apocalypse, the fallouts, like things of like that nature.
Like movies, you mean?
The government, DC, is telling them how to do these movies.
That's like basically what Project Bluebeam is, which is a whole other thing I haven't even rolled out to
Isn't
you
it
yet.
like the Terminal List or something too? We've never finished it.
No.
What was that one?
Project Bluebeam is like where they're basically like the theory is that they're trying to prepare us by aliens by saturating us with news and movies and things like that about aliens, so that when it happens, we're like,
Nah,
okay,
we're good.
we knew. Like
Yeah.
they're just slowly rolling it
We're
out.
prepared.
So,
Just like when they come out with the Florida hurricane list.
yeah.
And it's the worst this year, but last year was the worst, and the year
Every
that
year
was
is gonna be the worst.
But every year is the worst, so yet we're prepared. But fortunately for us, we're in like this special cone that it never happens.
it's magical.
It's magical. We're in the
That
magical
misses us.
cone. Here's what I was like. If we're gonna deep dive into conspiracies, and you want me to actually talk about them, I need to know that it's a safe space because I have some wild conspiracies in my head that I don't share with anyone. Because I don't think I've ever really shared with you some of my conspiracies.
Oh, okay.
Because you
Well,
know
maybe
that
you can share them on the podcast.
you know that meme that like, oh, when you met her, she's like 5 foot something, sweet as pie, blah blah blah, and then 10 years into your marriage, she's organic, which by the way I'm not organic whatsoever, but all this and that, and it was like, and she's got all these conspiracies in her head.
Okay.
Well, good. That's what the podcast is for. So we'll talk about them on here. And
No, I'm not going to broadcast them for people.
okay. Well, you can talk about them. I'll look crazy. So you tell me, I'll do research, then I'll look like the crazy guy. And you can be over there like, what's this guy? Why is he like this?
Where did he come up with that idea?
And then my brakes will fail, and that's how they get you.
Oh.
Or you commit suicide.
No, I would never do that to you because I know for a fact you never put your beneficiary in your life insurance.
It's so much paperwork.
So.
All right, well, let's wrap this up because we went way over what we were originally planning to do. But, you guys keep watching and share it. Tell some people you know about it.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Well, they get some more viewers. Send in some ideas about crazy stuff you want us to talk about. We will research it and dive into it and look like crazy people just for you guys.
You know what? And if we set a poll and you guys vote high enough, I'll share one of my conspiracies with you all.
We'll put it on Instagram. We can put a poll on there. And do we want Crazy Sam to show crazy conspiracy theories? Okay. All right. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Later.